which is absolutely great to have at this time. That's why it's called Coffee Talk. So sip on it, get your throat open. Please don't be afraid to ask questions on here. I'll try to answer them. I definitely want to get through some of the things that I think are specific topics. And then I would love feedback and talk during Zoom after. So I'm Lovie New. I am the owner and founder of New Yoga Wellness. I just want to tell people a little bit about who I am. I am a nurse practitioner, a family nurse practitioner. I am a yoga instructor. I am a 2-level Reiki master, Usui, as well as crystal Reiki master. I am a holistic health coach, a mom, a wife, and multiple other things. But today I wanted to take the time to specifically talk about combating the coronavirus blues, and specifically depression, anxiety, those things. And that's one of the topics and the stigmas people have been avoiding and don't want to talk about, and I want to bring that to the forefront today. We all have to be very clear on the psychological effects of the coronavirus, including and not just limited to post-traumatic stress syndrome, i.e. symptoms can include depression, anxiety, confusion, anger, fear. Fear is running rampant across the entire world right now. And it's due to stressors specifically, and of course not limited to, longer quarantine times, infection fears, frustration, boredom, inadequate supplies, not being able to get to the toilet paper, getting food, resources that are normally everyday norms that people aren't having access to. Inadequate and inaccurate information about the coronavirus. And I'm specifically going to quote and relate to the CDC, the WHO organization, Medline, Healthline. I'm sure there's a lot of other people I actually associate with too or get my information from. So, but those are my major sources. And then financial losses and just the stigmas related to depression and anxiety. I don't want to say there's all negative things to this, so I am going to come out with some positives that have happened since the coronavirus has come out. Polarization. We all now have one common enemy, and it's called the coronavirus. So we as a community are finally starting to come together, actually act like neighbors. More community. People are willing to give talks like I am. I normally have people pay for my services. I'm not charging anybody for anything because it's not the time. It's a time that we need to unite as a nation. We're more compassionate. We're more humane. We're more about returning to faith, whether your faith is within God or gods, whatever, if it's the moon, the sun, whatever it is, people are turning more into faith, which I absolutely support. Online regularization barriers are coming down. More importantly, telemed, telehealth. Even you can see your psychiatrist from your own home. These are important things that are now accessible because of this negative effect. So there are positives. Homeschooling, bonding with your children more. I know that some people may say it's more of a stress. I actually have turned that negative into a positive and been like, I get to bond with my child and spend time, and I'm not worried about bullying. I'm not worried about other things like that. Stronger domestic chains, meaning family uniting, stronger family bonds. Science is now moving to the forefront. It has been put on the back burner due to all the other things that we think is more important, greed being number one. We have now brought that back to the forefront, and we're going to drop some more money into actually looking into science to helping society. There will be vaccines and multiple medications that will come out from this, so you'll be surprised. A healing a home, healthy cooked meal. People are now not going to fast food restaurants. They're actually doing home cooked meals, which are healthier, which is better for your cholesterol. It will thank you. You can probably see your waistline swinging down now because we're not running to Starbucks for the coffee. We're not running to McDonald's at lunchtime. We actually are cooking our food at home and actually having mealtime together, a positive. more quality time with your children, decrease in violence. No, have you not heard of not any cop killings or any of that stuff? That's decreased. Amen for that. Focusing more on more important things in life, which is being alive. We're not worried about the luxuries of getting our nails done or who has what or who's buying that. We're actually now turning inward and putting our love and time into people that matter. We're actually reaching across the table to people we haven't spoken to. It may not be physically, it may be through what we're doing right here, but that's growth and that's important. We're having better child rearing, which is something that's important to me, and I know there's a whole bunch more. So the one things I want to talk about is anxiety and depression, and I'm going to start with the CDC. Specifically, they're calling it, there's a printout from it from called Stress and Coping, and specifically, everyone reacts differently to stress. Some people cry, some people work out overly, some people turn to drinking, some people are sleeping more, some people are not sleeping at all. And this is stressing not only the parents, but also the children. So I want to bring attention to that. I know that parents may be turning inside and focusing on them. Please check on your child, noticing that maybe they're not coming out of their room as much. Make them go outside. Some of those things are important. Stresses due to an infectious disease outbreak can include fear, worrying about your own health, changes in sleep and eating patterns, eating more, eating less, difficulty falling asleep, concentration, worry about chronic health problems, and increased use of tobacco, alcohol, or even drugs, whether they be illegal or illicit drugs. The most important thing is taking care of yourself, your friends, and your family can help you cope with the stress. This right here, me talking to you, is helping me cope with my own stress of being indoors, not being able to go see patients physically anymore, not seeing my clients, not seeing my yogi friends, etc., etc. This right here is communication is helping me, myself, deal with my own anxiety. So I want to thank y'all for being part of that. And it is absolutely true that everybody deals with it in different ways. Things that you can do to help support yourself. Take breaks from watching and reading and listening to the news stories. We are driving our own insanity. It's a vicious cycle. And even myself, I will tell you, I will be tuning out probably the end of this week where I will be getting off of social media, not because of any reason, because I too need that exact information told to myself. You get flooded with so much information, it's overwhelming. Take care of your body. Take deep breaths. Stretch. I can't tell you how important it is to deep breathe right now, specifically because this coronavirus is aka called an acute respiratory distress or disease. So breathing, getting the expansion of your alveoli, getting that air to the bottom of your, it's called the apex of the lungs, not just short breathing, which only opens up the top. Deep breathing. Make time to unwind. Do some activities that you enjoy, whether it be reading, going for walks, watching movies, laughing. Laughter, oh my gosh, when I say we watch movies here just to laugh, I believe that's one of the key things. Please encourage your children, your family. Stop sitting there watching the negative, turn to positive and put your energy there. For parents specifically, I want to read from the CDC. Children and teens react in part of what they see from the adults around them. When parents and caregivers deal with this virus calmly and confidently, they can provide the best support for their children. Parents can be more reassuring to others around them, especially children, if they're better prepared. And that's what I'm trying to do today, is prepare parents specifically, because they are looking up to you. Let me tell you a little secret. I'll tell you the truth. I am kind of the medical person. When anything goes wrong in this family, everybody looks to me, as well as every doctor, NP, nurse practitioner, registered nurse, EMT. If we get scared, if we turn in, we will shake everybody else. So you best believe I put on that strong face. I let everybody know, and I'm letting you know you will be okay. Believe, breathe, reassure yourself that you will be okay, because that's what you need to pass on to your children. Energies do pass on. I do believe in energies. I can feel energies. If I'm nervous, my kids can read that, and vice versa. So make sure you have your game face on for your kids, for yourself, because if you have a positive mind, that can beat anything. The things that we need to be aware of: not all children and teens respond to stress the exact same way. Again, this is from the CDC. There may be excessive crying, irritability, returning to behaviors in their childhood like bedwetting, thumb sucking, things like that, excessive worry, sadness, unhealthy eating habits and sleeping, poor school performance. Even though we're doing digital learning, make sure they're still staying adaptive and catching up and able to learn, able to concentrate. If they're not, take note of that, pull them aside, talk to them. Talking and communicating honestly and openly with your children is very much important in checking on them and giving them reassurance. They may have difficulty paying attention or concentrating, avoiding activities that they used to do. If they used to go outside and they're not, I know that maybe they can't go play with their friends, but at least go play with them outside for a little bit to get some sunlight. Sunlight is very important and one of the key things that can cause depression. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. Unexplained headaches, body pain, and even they can use alcohol, tobacco, or any other drug. So pay attention to the changes in your children. Talk to them. Make them to unplug from the internet. In my home, we turn off the computers if we're not doing digital learning. I don't want them to sit there and read the toll or the count, because that's not going to help. If I keep them in a positive state and I keep telling them to worry about what's going on here, we can all stay grounded. There are many things you can do to support your children. Talk to them, like I said, reassure them that they are safe. Limit your family exposure to news coverage and events, especially social media. Children are getting more upset about not going back to school. It's absolutely true. Also, they're upset about not seeing their friends. Let them know that's okay. I know that for us grown adults, we're like, who cares about your friends? But to them, that's their little world, and that's what matters. So reassure them that they can talk to their friends via FaceTime like this, Zoom, meetup groups, but make some think outside of the box for this temporary isolation that we have. We have to work together. We are a very militant family. I just like to tell people I'm ex-Army, my husband is a Marine. We know that this is a hard time, but the mission must still drive on. So the best thing is to adapt and overcome. In whatever way that is in your family, your definition, apply it, stick to it, and push forward is my recommendation. Um, so there's other things. I'm going to pause on that from the CDC because I don't want to spend all my time there. I may continue that on my next talk as well or during the Zoom. But I also found an article by Forbes. Again, take your coffee or your tea, sip. It is coffee talk time. Um, Forbes noticed this: as hospitals strain to keep up with the influx of the coronavirus, mental health providers are also struggling as well. 36% of Americans have are told were told that it has increased since the pandemic, reporting increase in sleep insomnia, sleepless nights, correction, and insomnia, as well as people who are self quarantined are now using remote therapy. And one of the, or two of them that I want to talk about and encourage people to use, one is called Talkspace and another one's called Brightside. They have seen 65% increase in patients. I recommend if you need to vent, talk to people, definitely go there. Depression and anxiety is thrive on social isolation and disruption of routine, making the pandemic worse, resulting in longer quarantine times and increase in mental health upheavals. So please don't socially isolate. Do things like this. Get on to FaceTime. Talk to people. People are doing watch parties more. But I'm not saying get on and read the topics and take that in. I'm suggesting that you use this as an outlet to keep yourself stable. So I want to get to some holistic tips on helping with depression and causes and things. And I pull some of my books. I always like to pull resources because I don't, even though I know it off the top of my head, I always like to refer to different topics. According to the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, depression is the leading cause of disability in the worldwide. It may be mild or it may be severe, long lasting or short term. Depressed people have loss of interest in normal activities, have problems with sleeping. They become irritable, angry, tearful, withdraw, and may have trouble concentrating and making wise decisions. While depression may require medical attention, there are many self help remedies, and that's what I'm going to talk about right now. One of my favorite ones, and I don't even have to look at my paper for that, is vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of the biggest things if you have seasonal depression because you have the lack of sun and the ability to break down. So increase your vitamin D, whether it's taking it through a tablet or in your food or vitamin D enriched foods. I absolutely recommend you doing that. St. John worts, that has been around for a long time. That's another holistic medicine that you can, or supplement that you can use over the counter. The only warning I want to tell you, St. John worts has a lot of interaction with some of the regular medications people may be taking. So make sure you talk to your physician. Make sure if you're taking a blood pressure medicine or something for your cardiac heart medicine, make sure that it's not going to interact. But that's something that you can use if you don't have any other medications that you're worried about conflicting. A healthier diet. What you put in your body is just as important as breathing. If I'm putting a lot of sugars, fats, ice cream, alcohol, I'm putting toxins in my body, and it's not going to be able to adapt to the stress, or even my immune system. I'm going to draw that down even more. So make sure you're putting a lot of green vegetables, uh, fruits in your body, a lot of fish. Stay with healthier natural foods because right now our body needs that for energy. Your brain needs it as well for just functioning. Um, Keeping your blood sugar steady helps fighting depression. So if you have heard of apple cider vinegar, absolutely incorporate that into your daily regimen. Take a shot of it. That will help maintain your blood sugars, and that will help maintain decreasing your depression. Omega 3s, vitamins with that, or foods that have omega 3 in that, or fish, flaxseed, walnut, soybean. That is also a big thing that will help with depression. So absolutely increase your omega 3s. Vitamin B12, absolutely, I believe is a great supplement. It will help with energy, metabolism, and that will keep you up. It may that your B12 might be low, so make sure you're using foods or eating foods that have that. And some of the foods that increase in B12 or have vitamin B12 in there, eggs, fish, fortified cereals, just like Cheerios. I looked up at my Cheerios that I had today. It has 32% of vitamin B12 in there, which is awesome. That's a great amount. So a cup of that, something that you would recommend for your children to eat. Fortified non-dairy milks like soy also have vitamin B12 in there. Reduce your alcohol intake if possible. The more you drink or get onto a dependency of alcohol, it's not going to counteract, it's actually going to increase the likelihood of depression and anxiety. Some people may say it takes the edge off for me. However, there is a however, and I'm going to get to that point when we talk about sleep. A good night's sleep is very valuable, so make sure that you're getting in bed at least by 10 o'clock. Make sure that you're trying to eat at least by 6, 7 o'clock so that you have time for your food to digest before you go into sleep. Now, with that being said, if you're not getting good night's sleep, there are actually major supplements that I encourage you to use. Melatonin is one of the most recommended over the counter supplements used for insomnia. I myself have used it. The dosage can be from 2 to 3 milligrams for months. You can use it on a regular basis. However, if you need a higher dose, up to 10 to 12, I only recommend that you use that for 4 weeks. That is not something that you want to continue to use long term because it can become dependency in a way. However, it is a supplement, so I do recommend it. With that being said, um, light exercise or moderate exercise right before bedtime, maybe before you eat. Do an exercise routine and make it a regular routine as well. That's something that I want to stress, very important, is changing your routine. You have to find a new norm now that we're indoors, we're not able to get out and do as much as we want to do. I would highly recommend that you find a new routine. Reading at night, maybe before you go to bed, turn a nightlight on, read a couple pages. I'm going to give you some suggested readings, and I will tell you some of my favorite, I think, that are pertinent for right now. I'm a big Eckhart Tolle reader. Stillness Speaks is wonderful, and The Power of Now. If you don't have it or you need it, I will personally send you. I have probably 3 copies of this. I give them to my clients. I recommend it. This is something that will help you get out of being outside and bring it back in and have you more in stillness. So these are 2 great reads, easy reads. I'm sorry, there's a little bit of shadow on there. I recommend these. Um, Meditation, whether it's guided or unguided, just sitting in stillness, focusing on your breathing. And there's breathing techniques I recommend for depression and anxiety. For breathing techniques such as breathing in for a count of 4, pausing, exhaling for a count of 4, or you can do the alternate nostril breathing, which I have demonstrated before, where you close one nostril, inhale, close the opposite nostril, exhale. Inhale from that nostril, close the opposite one, exhale through the other, and do a couple rounds of that. When you do that, I'll tell you specifically what that does in a moment to your parasympathetic system. It kicks in some endorphins that will help you calm down. Even as I speak, if I slow down my breathing, I start to slow down my heart rate. I also start to slow down my blood pressure. So there's other things that you can do as well to combat the coronavirus blues. Yoga, pranayama, which is diaphragmatic breathing, and I just gave you 2 examples of those. Let me get my tea. Diaphragmatic breathing. Um, Music therapy, getting up and dancing, moving, all that. Walking, working out, being in nature. Even if you can't be with other groups of people, walking around the neighborhood, going for a hike, as long as we're 6 feet away from each other, go in your backyard, take your shoes off, be barefoot in the grass, ground yourself, sit within yourself in silence. I call it sun time. I have to. I have to sit in the sun, so I have either sunlight when it's winter time to combat seasonal depression, or I go outside. At least spend about 20 minutes in the sun so you can start breaking down vitamin D, help decreasing your own depression as well. Journaling and connecting virtually, which we are doing right now, and I appreciate everyone who's joining, even if they're coming in and out. Um, The other thing is psychological therapy. If you need to connect with a counselor, like I said, there's 2 people or 2 groups that are doing virtual. There's also a ton of psychiatrists right now that are willing to take on clients virtually, and it's just as adaptive as well as effective for you to sit and talk to your counselor through video to keep yourself safe so you don't have to increase the risk of the fear. Because we don't want it to be a vicious cycle of I can't go out and I can't do this. We got to figure out ways of saying we can somehow. Now, the most important thing that I want to clarify, if you're feeling so depressed that you are at risk of harming yourself or harming anyone else, please immediately call 911. go to the ER. There is no talks that I can do. There is no vitamin D that will solve your issue in the moment. That is considered a medical emergency, and I don't take it lightly. So I'm going to repeat that. If you feel like you're at risk of harming yourself or someone else, go to the ER. Do not stay home. Do not try to wait it out. I'd rather see you get possible something than not see your beautiful face on this earth. I want to keep my energies, my people here as long as possible. And depression is not something to be embarrassed about. It's who cares what anyone thinks. I'll tell you, I love you, and if no one's told you that today, I love you, and you need to be here, and you deserve to be here. Let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety, and I go back to my book. Where is it? Give you a straight definition because everybody may interpret different. Um, Between 14 and 18% of the population, more being women than men, suffer from anxiety. You may experience racing of heart, muscle tension, trembling, hyperventilation, trouble breathing, concentrating, headaches, or you may have trouble falling asleep, having trouble staying asleep. There are several remedies for anxiety as well, and I'm going to get into that. Lifestyle factors: make sure you're sleeping as much as you can. Decrease your stress. I hate to say it, turn off Facebook, turn off IG, turn off the news. We know there's a virus out there. We don't need to keep hammering the negative information. I've also given a talk on how to prevent the spread of it. Everybody knows the 6 feet rule. Sneeze into your elbow. Germ-X, make sure it dries on your hands before you touch anything. Wash your hands at least for 20 seconds. Those are pretty much the basic things you can do. The other things: increasing your immune system, vitamin C, severance silver is something I use, zinc, lemon, all those things. Apple cider vinegar is actually good for you. There's a number of things out there. Taking daily vitamins. Those things will help keep your immune system up. Unplug from unneeded information. Trust me, I do it all the time. And like I said, I will be taking a break this week coming up and getting off of Facebook because I don't need to continuously be feeding my brain with negativity. I'm trying right now to pour out positivity because that's what we need. We need to hear it. So make sure you're listening to positive people. Anxiety can come from decreased isolation. So that's why I also say FaceTime, do watch parties, webinars. Take this time, use it for good. And what I mean, use it for good. Since I've been home, I have time on my hands. You see that I'm putting more videos out. I'm doing more yoga talks. I'm doing this like we're interacting. Also, I YouTube and learned how to do 3D drawings, how to make candles with my children. There's so much great information out there. Use your time wisely to learn something new and adapt to it. That's what I would recommend to help decreasing your anxiety. Um, this situation is about how you react to it. And so that's something I want to stress to people. If you want to decrease your anxiety, it's how you're going to react to it. Yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff that's out there in the world going on at all times. How we react to it is what's going to keep your anxiety down. If you fall into drinking, that's not going to help. But if you fall into working out, that's good for the heart, that's good for the mind, that's good for the spirit. So it's how you react to it. Even doing this, create your own platform, make it your own blog where you get to vent, get it out. Whatever you do or need to do to keep your mindset positive, I encourage it. We need positivity, and you'd be surprised. I know I may sound boring or I may not be touching everybody, but there's one person out there, and if I can reach that one person, that is powerful. I absolutely encourage everyone to do that. My yoga instructors, my healthcare providers, my holistic health coaches, every person, that person that's sitting there right now talking or watching, go ahead and get out there, get your voice out there. You'd be surprised that you may help one person. And that's all that matters, is helping someone else and helping yourself. Um, Use this situation for the positiveness, connecting to your spouse, connecting with your children, connecting with people you don't know. My husband and I, if you've been watching, he's now doing yoga with me. He is not a yogi. He's a true Marine to his core, militant. But now we have bond in this situation, um, to connect more spiritually, mentally. We meditate together. My children are meditating with us, so that's why I said take this moment and use it for positive times versus using it for negative. Holistic tips as well that I recommend: rebreathing, breathing techniques such as the diaphragmatic breathing or pranayama. Pet therapy. I read something very interesting that I want to share with you. Petting a pet for 2 minutes decreases your cortisol levels, which is the bad hormone which spikes up and causes stress, also increases your blood sugar. So petting your pet or your dog or your cat for 2 minutes releases oxytocin, which is the hormone for love, and that's the hormone for bonding. So absolutely pet your dog, snuggle up with your cat, give love, pass that energy on. It's karma. What you give out is what you're going to receive back. So I thought that was actually wonderful. I don't have a pet, but if I did, I would be petting it a lot right now. Um, Sitting in silence for 2 minutes is more beneficial than listening to music. Listen to this. Sitting in silence for 2 minutes will decrease your heart rate as well as decrease your blood pressure. It is okay, people, to be alone and be within yourself and register your thoughts. It's okay. We're all going to get through it, but it's amazing what we could do for ourselves if we just slow ourselves down, slow our mind down, ground ourselves. That is what we need more than anything. Turn in. Aromatherapy, I'm big on that. Lavender scent, chamomile, um, jasmine is another one that's very relaxing. The other thing you can do is you can put it into your baths as well. If you want to run a hot bath, sitting in a and chamomile will relax you. Teas are great for decreasing anxiety. Chamomile is still another one. Hops, lavender, holy basil, all calm your nerves and increase relaxation. So grab that cup of tea before you go to bed. Make sure maybe it's decaffeinated because it may keep you up, but definitely use your teas. I also use my teas to put lemon in there to clear my throat. Um, Eugene Bear, I want to note something that his aunt posted and said she's absolutely right. Drinking hot teas or gargling with hot salt water um, is an environment, or it creates an environment where a bacteria or virus does not want to stay. So squeezing a lemon straight into your mouth and swallowing, I do that every morning and every night. I'm trying to clear out any post-nasal drip that I had during the night. So definitely drink your teas. Continue doing those old little remedies that your aunt was talking about. My mom taught me that. I still do it. I still gargle. You'll be surprised what you're getting up, because your body has its own way of trying to catch some of the allergens or bacteria. Your nose hairs, your throat, you have cilias in your throat that move, that's going to catch the phlegm. And if you're able to break it up and spit it out versus it getting into your lungs and getting into your GI system, it's absolutely beneficial. Important enough with that, with GI, I absolutely encourage people to do probiotics because you need to have the good bacteria in your GI tract. So incorporate that into your food as well. Yoga, meditation, and breathing techniques are very much beneficial for anxiety, and especially in the middle of a panic attack. If you're able to use your breathing techniques to calm yourself down, yes, that old paper bag thing, putting it over your mouth, it's CO2 that you inhale and you start to breathe. It will kick in your parasympathetic, it will drop your heart rate, it will calm you down. So those old tricks that we heard about, use them again. They're coming back. They are very helpful. Music is very possible. It is a great antidote to anxiety. Whatever your jam is, please listen to it. I'm big on like Michael right now, Man in the Mirror, whatever it is that you need to reconnect or ground. I think that's very important. So virtual connection absolutely is important because caring for others and forming social alliances have shown to increase oxytocin as well increase your endorphins. So, like I said, connecting through Facebook like we're doing now or through Zoom or FaceTime, I highly do recommend because that will help oxytocin, which is good, as well as endorphin. Okay, and remember, I'm not saying oxycontin, oxytocin. That's the one. Um, Digital reading book clubs are something that's popping up as well. Once again, I recommend for people who are hopping on now. Eckhart Tolle are wonderful books. Still and Speak is a very easy read. The Power Now, much needed. I encourage people to read him and follow him. As well, just a side note, he's supposed to be coming here in May. I actually have tickets for. We may not be able to see him. I'm sad about that. But find someone who's inspirational, right? Like him. There's Alan Watts. There's a ton of people. There's Gaia. There are so many outlets that will feed you positivity. Use those resources in this time to decrease your anxiety. Also, for anxiety, cognitive therapy, just like depression, connecting with a psychologist or a psychiatrist may be beneficial. Don't worry about the stigmas. Don't worry about what Sally's thinking. Don't worry about what you need to get through this time because this is a pandemic. It is a stressful situation. It is something that we need to adapt and overcome. So whether you're talking to your therapist physically or through Zoom, do what you need to ground yourself and get yourself to be stable. And I believe in journaling, getting some of the thoughts out or the fears out on paper and giving it back to the universe. That's a positive way that we don't have to run and dig in our pockets right now because I know that we can't afford it. That's one of the main reasons I'm doing these talks is because I know, including in my own household, we are struggling financially from where we were before to now. I'm not making quite a big bit of money. However, it is what it is. My husband's job just asked him to take 1 day of leave a week. Yes, it's stressful, but I'm telling you, believe in yourself, believe in the universe. You're gonna get past this too. Don't focus too much on the negative. Everything that you truly need will be provided. And if I can help in any way, please, please, I need that. I need you to reach out to me and I will try my best or I will direct you to some resources. Don't be afraid to go get into the unemployment line and apply. It is what it is. This is not a time to put more stresses on your plate. The government provides things like that. Use them. I absolutely encourage it. I've been paying into it for years. Go ahead, use my money. I want you to. That's why it's there. I don't care. I personally want you to be able to feed your kids at night. I want you to have some lights on because those are things that are going to keep you pushing. So when this virus is over, we can jump back onto our normal life like we didn't skip a beat at all. So those are some of the things that I want to talk about. So important thing that I want to stress that I don't think people are doing is making a schedule and sticking with it. And I decided to bring mine. I know this is hilarious, but I like to reveal what I do. I don't know if you can see this, but it's a schedule of activities for a week. And that's what we're going to do for the entire month. That's our activities, and it includes yoga for my children, myself, reading, writing, ab workouts, mommy and me time, my shows that I have going on. We have movie night, we have art time, and we make it a scheduled thing. And of course, my Marine husband has his martial art time. So my little girls, my little princess, my little yogis, he's teaching them combat moves, which, hey, might come in handy. The other thing that I like to do is, and people laugh at me when they come over to my house, they see this posted. I make a food schedule for the month. I don't know if y'all can see that. To don't stress myself. And yes, we eat veggies every Wednesday. I do this to decrease my stress from trying to figure out at the last minute, and especially when the resources of food is lacking, we need to kind of plan out a little bit more. So take that stress off yourself by making a meal plan. If you don't stick to it, no big deal. But I believe this is easier. The most important thing that I think is good for children, I had them also partake in making their own schedule. This is my oldest daughter's schedule. I don't know if you can see it, but she gets to pick what she wants, so she feels like she's in control of her life. Give them some power, give them some tools, because they need to also feel like they have a voice and they have a say on what's going on in their life. And these are tools that they can take with them when they're older. I'm still doing it, right? This is my one of my middle child's one. She made a little schedule. She likes a little notebook. So these are the things that make them feel like they're empowered and they're able to do some things. I just realized that I'm supposed to be on Zoom right now, and I did not, because I turned off my do not disturb. It did not tell me. So I'm going to cut this short. I'm so sorry. Meet me if you can on my Zoom. Thank you so much for everyone who